Welcome to Misplaced Musings. This is your host, Shannon, along with the co host.
Brian Cowan. I keep forgetting we're Misplaced Musings now. Are we sold on that title?
Do you want a different title? We could change it.
I have no idea. We should talk about that outside. Listeners or listener. I don't know what we have.
We have
But
hers.
if you have an opinion on our title, please let us know.
Yeah, if you should change it from Misplaced Musings to something else, like
I feel
Rotund
like
Ramblings. I
if
don't know.
it's Misplaced Musings, maybe we should lean more into it and talk about a broader range of topics.
Instead of just the Vigia. Yeah, we could do
Yeah,
that. I wouldn't mind.
just throw some politics in here, get a couple of people riled, and then no one listens to us again, and we get canceled off Twitter.
Yeah, and then I could talk about cooking stuff too.
Wait, but
Good.
Elon Musk owns Twitter now, so no one can be canceled or something.
Oh my goodness. No canceling now. Elon Musk has saved us.
I don't know. We are way off off script here, sir.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
that's fine.
this is the Misplaced Musings podcast for May something. The 10th? Is it the
May
10th?
10th. May 10th is when we're recording, yes.
It is a Tuesday. Yeah, so I guess we'll cover current events first and see if we have any thoughts on those. So EA is no longer going to be making FIFA games. Did you see that?
Yeah, are they still making the games and just labeling them not FIFA? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, they're just pulling their or not pulling. I didn't read the stories. But they are no longer going to have their partnership with FIFA, so they will still make soccer games, but they won't be FIFA games. And I guess that means they probably won't have player likenesses.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably expensive to get the football license for that long. It's
Oh, very.
also FIFA's
FIFA is
evil.
garbage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, FIFA is the devil. So,
to be fair, most sports organizations are. The NCAA is
oh
also the
my god,
devil.
I'm learning about F1 and holy crap.
Yeah, they're all awful, man. They're all
It's
just
yeah.
organizations designed to exploit athletes so that non-athletes can gain millions and millions of dollars. Um, it's very, very sad. So that's in the news, and I guess that's our opinion on it. I don't play FIFA games, so
I
it's
mean,
not going
I
to.
haven't in a very long time, and there's a good reason.
I mean, I feel like it'll. I wonder if another company might pick up the FIFA brand. It would be very
Maybe
expensive, so
it would be. I want a FIFA fighting game. I want to like kick someone and they flop over. It'd be great. Take extra damage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So, was there anything else? Think you had a piece of news, maybe.
There's nothing really that sticks to my mind except that Citizen Sleeper and Trek to Yomi are out, and I'm excited to try those.
I heard mixed reviews on Trek to Yomi, and I've actually read nothing on Citizen Sleeper, but everybody in our Discord was talking about it like it was a game I would enjoy playing. So,
Yeah, Citizen Sleeper looks cool. Trek to Yomi looks mediocre in the way that I like, where everybody's like, you only have like the same three combos, and I'm like, joke's on you. I play Final Fight all the time. So I'm 100% down to do that. Other other than that, I don't really think there's anything all that exciting going on that I care about. There's a fighting game coming out in June that I'm probably going to play a lot that I can talk about more when it releases. The
oh, a
Dungeon
game
Fighter.
did
Yeah.
just drop today that we both get.
Oh
What was it?
yeah, Illidan Chronicles, right? Or Illidan?
Eluden, I should probably watch a YouTube video and get the pronunciation.
Yeah, probably.
Um, but yeah, we both got that, the, spiritual successor to Suikoden. I can say that one
Well,
right.
it's the game that got Kickstarter. They had a Kickstarter, and
As the
it's the
spiritual
game.
successor to Suikoden.
Yeah. So what it is this game is like the prequel to the spiritual successor to Suikoden.
Oh my god. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I do remember that now, whenever it first got kickstarted, I completely spaced on that.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
This is the game that, comes before the game that will be the game.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's be the guy. I
Oh my
want to
god,
be the guy, Brian.
I missed that
Uh,
game.
it was so fun.
I
Um,
loved that. That was around during a formative time in my life.
oh, yeah, that and Abobo's Journey. Oh, I played so much
We should
Abobo's
do an
Journey.
episode on, like, free, the old, like, free
Oh, the old
browser-based
freeware
down
stuff. Oh
yeah, the
yeah,
downloadable ones and the browser-based ones. There were so many good ones.
100% Robot Unicorn Attack. Yeah,
All that
yeah.
stuff on, like, Congregate and Iron
Uh,
Iron, No, wait. Armor
Armor Games and
Armor Game.
Congregate.
Yeah, Congregate and Armor Games, yeah.
And then Congregate was bought by GameStop, which is how you know they're gonna die.
Ugh, God,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Yes, yes. But let me see. Oh, Crystal Project released, and I want to play that. I have the demo. I need to play it. It looks fantastic.
I don't know what that is.
Crystal Project is an indie RPG where you have classes that you can level up. It's not linear. It's pixel based. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a great soundtrack. I found out about it because a speedrunner I like, Yagamoth, was streaming it.
So this is
And
in no way related to Pokemon Crystal or Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
absolutely not. Or Project Triangle Strategy. None of those. Uh,
That's a shame.
but it looks really, really cool. And I have the demo, which is free, which you can keep your save file. So why not?
More demos should do that.
It's so good. And that's all the news that I have, Brian. Anything else for you before I move on to topics?
Nothing that I care about.
Excellent. All right, so take it away. What's your topic? What do you got?
Oh, I'm going first this time?
You're
Okay.
going first this time.
So I had a couple things, but I was gonna start with so ephemera, um,
Mhm,
video game ephemera. As far as game preservation goes, which is one of my favorite topics, I talk about it
mhm,
all the time.
mhm.
Um, so everybody knows about preserving video games, finding uh, games that have never been dumped and getting them dumped, or preserving old or rare hardware, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody knows about that.
Mhm.
What no one really talks about is stuff related to video games that is not video games. One of my specific areas of passion are video game advertisements, physical ones. So things like back, depending on your age, whenever you were younger, you might have gone into a store and they had flyers for like the electronics section in the store.
Yes.
They'd be like, "Hey, this week, we're Nintendo 64, 199.99, etc." That kind of stuff. Or like the
Uh-huh.
little catalog flyers you could get from like Club Nintendo and stuff back in the day. That stuff
Okay.
is rare and getting rarer because it's made of paper or cardboard, and it was never made to be saved. Like who saves a in-store flyer? Um
Right. Yeah.
yeah, so that kind of stuff, already a lot of it's just gone. Just gone. Things like the print material for the game section at say a place like Toys R Us that went out of business.
Right.
A lot of that's just gone.
Probably a
And
lot of like EB games before it was bought and stuff like that too, right?
exactly. And I can
Mhm.
see some people being like, I mean, that's sad, but what, other than like an enthusiast who's into that, what use is there in preserving those? Well, those are actually very useful to people who cover video game history because they add context to a time period. So as far as like seeing, how things were advertised, the way they were packaged together, because a lot of that stuff, companies like Nintendo and stuff, if you're like, hey, can you tell me about the different SKUs and stuff that different stores sold, that they're not going to give you that information.
Right.
So the only way to get it, is to have these old flyers. Also, we have found, and I say we, I mean people who actually put in the work, have have found images on these old flyers that are of pre-release versions of games that no one has ever seen. So, for an example, I had come across a Walmart holiday gift guide from 1994 in my grandfather's toolbox and it was a Nintendo sponsored one, had Nintendo on it, Mario, and all that. And this is where I first got into this. I posted it on, or I DM'd Frank Cifaldi with the Video Game History Foundation and
Yeah,
asked him,
yeah.
"Hey, what should I do with this?" And he was like, "I have never seen that before. Get it scanned, and archived and post it." And we did. And then I got the most reactions and comments and views I've ever had on a tweet, uh, with people looking at it, and they discovered that
That's awesome.
images on there of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Game Boy game and an Itchy and Scratchy game were
Okay.
versions from pre-release that had little differences, and nobody's seen those revisions. Like they have never been dumped, So they were like, "This is the first time we've ever seen that." So that's the thing. You could potentially have like up in your attic, your mom or you or somebody could have wrapped your old dishes in some newspapers that have like rare video game ads on them or something. Um,
That's definitely something interesting to think about. I've never thought about the paper side of it. I also thought the other day while I was playing Donkey Kong on stream, I thought about those videos that used to come every once in a while with Nintendo Power.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
Actually, I was just gonna say I have somebody's supposed to be sending me a VHS that's kind of basically one of those.
I got the Donkey Kong one. That was the Nintendo Treehouse. It was an hour long. It told you secrets of the game, how they made the game, what it was about. It was really cool. And at the very end of it, they had a little teaser for Killer Instinct, which was coming out soon at the time. I
Uh,
thought it was a really fun little piece, and I didn't realize that it's a piece of paraphernalia that isn't around anymore.
For sure. And some of that stuff has been dumped. The easiest way to check, is to Google or to go archive.org and just try to search for it. But a lot of that stuff hasn't been because even if people like for instance, if it were say a VHS, um, a lot of people don't have VCRs anymore. So even if they have like a VHS tape in their crap somewhere, they're not going to have a VCR. And then the ability to digitize a VHS so that you can archive it on the internet, that's quite a task for somebody who isn't already doing that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So a lot of that kind of stuff just sits in people's stuff, and it's yeah, it's cool. I mean, you'll even get on Google, talking about VHSs. If you get on YouTube, you can find some old commercials for games, but a lot of them are like low quality, or you won't find the one you're looking for because nobody saved it. And who knows? Maybe somebody has like they were recording a football game or something, and they have like a commercial for you know Super Smash Brothers that nobody still has or something. But,
yeah.
but that kind of stuff, our one listener, if they would spread that, I gotta. Oops, I hit my mic. I gotta spread. I gotta stop making those jokes about us having one listener. Those are gonna age really poorly. Uh,
They are, especially because we already have more than one listener.
but if our listeners, spread the word. Look through your junk. If there's always people on Twitter that are into that kind of stuff, you can reach out to.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I found the name of the thing I was talking about.
Enlighten us with your name thing.
Donkey Kong Country Exposed is the promo tape. It's currently on eBay for like $10 a pop, so that's nice. That means there are plenty of people that have it.
Yes. Which some of those like a tape I found, the one that's being sent to me actually, I can find it for sale on eBay, but I haven't found it on archive.org. So it's like people can buy it, like they're out there, but nobody who has it has bothered to digitize it. If they have, they never put it up on the archive. So I'm going to do that at some point when I feel like it.
Yes. We we need to be doing that more in general, and by we I mean I have things I should be doing that with. And preservation is important. That's something that we both harp on a lot here, and I think it's really awesome that you're into that and are trying to find things like that. And I also know not just newspapers and stuff, you're looking through magazines and things like that all the time.
I mean, yeah, and it is important. A lot of people dismiss it because games are just a hobby. But I feel like it's just as important as anything else. And again, that kind of research, you never know how it could be helpful. It could be helpful to people who are studying like the psychology of video game advertisements or something. Um, you know, could be somebody someday could be doing their doctoral thesis on something to do with video game stuff, and your archived ad could be the thing that gets them a passing grade.
Yeah, absolutely. That's you could be useful with your archived advertisements.
Yeah, I don't even know, but you never know, and just humans like to save things because we fear mortality and things disappearing as a reminder of that. So it's good to preserve things because it makes us feel like things have permanence when they don't. But
I for one embrace the Eversleep.
oh my goodness. But that's pretty much all I had. Just wanted to tell people, hey, advertisements. If I ever start posting companion pieces to our podcasts on the website we have, I will make one about this subject. And if you want to see that holiday 1994 gift thing, you can check it out. Go to my Twitter and look through my tweets. It's back there somewhere, and it's also on archive.org. Just type in like Walmart holiday guide, and there's not very many. So,
Yeah. Thank you very much for the information. All right.
yes. Now, what did you have to talk about, Shannon?
All right. All right. I got two things I wanted to discuss. The first one is going to be a little shorter. The second one is the big one. So to start it off, I, as we have talked about, have a passion for them fighting games. Right. I like to beat the crap out of other people before they beat the crap out of me. It tends to be the best way to do that. And I also have a little bit of a passion for older fighting games, and not just the Street Fighters, not just the KOFs. I like the weird stuff. I like things like Rabbit, where you've got a zodiac sign assigned to you, and you have to summon it while you're fighting to get your moves out. So you have one of each of the zodiacs as a playable character, or games like Kaiser Knuckle, where you have the art designer from Escaflowne making all of the character designs, and the voice actress from Japan for Sailor Mars voicing one of the main characters. And the game flopped. It did terribly.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it came out in 94, right in the middle of Street Fighter fever. So it came out when KOF 94 hit. Street Fighter 2 had all the stuff, Street Fighter 0 or Alpha in America. All of these games that were just killing it. And then this game that was really confused with its mechanics, but very pretty, made by the Bubble Bobble people, came out. And everyone was like, what the fuck is this?
That I kind of want to check that out. That kind of like what you were describing kind of hurt me that that is not popular. It seemed like it had all the elements to be good.
Yeah, it absolutely did. It was very fun. It is infamous in fighting game communities for having one of the most unfair final bosses ever made.
As a casual fan, sir, I will say more unfair than Shao Kahn,
Yes,
more unfair than Hayachi's dad or whatever from Tekken 4.
Jinpachi. Yes.
Yeah, that guy with the stomach laser.
All right, Brian. I want you to picture this. Every computer fighting game reads your inputs, right?
Yes,
But imagine that if you jump, there's a 100% no matter what angle you hit anti-air. Whenever you are blocking, he can infinitely chain slides until you stop blocking. And he's 100% safe on all of his moves.
oh,
Oh,
that's rough. Have you
and
beaten
his
this guy?
yeah, I have. I manipulated the AI. I tricked it. I did a move that made it jump every time it stood up, or as we in the fighting game community like to call, on wake up. And it made him jump, and then I queued my anti-air move and hit him, and then used the move on wake up that made him jump, and just did that for 10 seconds until he died.
I just want to point out you just said you tricked an AI into being stupid so you could murder it. And we're putting this podcast on the internet. Someday when Skynet hears this, it's going to be the reason you don't get spared.
Yeah, probably. It's gonna be what ends me, is I beat a 1994 arcade game. I didn't even beat Kaiser Knuckle. I beat Dankuga, which is an unreleased prototype that they were going to let release. That was kind of like Street Fighter 2 tournament edition that lets you play the bosses. Uh, that's the version that I played through. One of the bosses is a grappler named Gonzalez that lives in Russia.
Wait, what?
Yeah, his he's Russian and his name is Gonzalez. Yeah,
Sure, why not?
and he uses judo. Yeah,
Uh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I mean,
Um,
places don't mean anything, right? There's not,
exactly.
player expectations. It's like, our Chinese fighter from China who is a, I don't know, Chilean person who boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
You
They do
know?
that kind of stuff all the time. But why? So why did I talk about all this? A big part of it is all those weird games are really fun and interesting to talk about. However, people talk that fighting games have never tried to ease new people in. And that's something I really don't like because it shows that people aren't paying attention. One of the games that I highlighted on my stream today, which was PS1 fighting games, was Gundam Battle Assault 2. Did you ever play that one?
Of course I did. I'm a Gundam guy.
Yeah, yeah, I figured you would because of that. Um so what's interesting about that is you have this game that all of the inputs are the same. And for people that don't know what I'm talking about, fighting games have what are called motion inputs. So, for example, if you push down on the D pad, down, forward, and then hit a punch button, your character can do something called throwing a fireball, which is a projectile on the screen that moves towards the other player. That's considered a quarter circle forward motion, and universally, people understand that how to throw the Hadoken. So what Gundam Battle Assault did was every single mech had the same move set. Now the
I was
moves
gonna
were
say.
different. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So all their special moves had the same inputs.
All the special moves had the same inputs and all did similar things. For example, if your mech had a quarter circle forward move, it was probably a fireball. Half circle back, which is forward, rolling all the way back to backward, is an unblockable move. Forward, down, forward is a dragon punch motion, which is an anti air that's usually invincible. So if your character had any of those things, they were all universal for every member of the cast, which means there were no charge motions. Which, again, if you don't know what a charge motion is, you hold a direction for a certain amount of time, usually back or down, typically about 2 seconds, and then you go to the other direction, which is called releasing the charge, and then you tap a button. That's how Guile does Sonic Boom and Flash Kick, as an
So
example.
these characters, do they have different speeds and like
Yes. Mhm.
strength?
Yeah, they all have different speeds and strength, and their normals all look a little different. And then you have Ball, and Ball only has two moves because it's supposed to be garbage.
Okay,
Um,
you leave the ball alone. All right. The
Listen, I tried to
ball
beat Amuro with it today. I tried real
the
hard.
ball is the mobile weapon of the common soldier, and those men are heroes, sir.
They are
Heroes.
heroes. Yes. Um, I
For
did
anyone who
beat
doesn't know what we're talking about, it is literally a ball with little robot arms and
Little Robot Arms.
like a tank cannon mounted to the top.
Yeah, most of them aren't even supposed to do that. They're supposed to be maintenance units. A lot of
Yeah,
them
the
aren't combat
y-
units at all.
yeah, they didn't have space mobile weapons, so they just took construction pods and
Yeah.
put a gun on top because you know that
Oh,
worked out well against weapons that were made for fighting.
absolutely. It was really fun beating Amuro with an Akai, though. I
That
did.
see, that's one of my favorite. Okay, that's for people who don't. It's an amphibious mobile suit.
Yep.
Looks like a water guy. Um,
Yeah, I know it's great. I beat the crap out of Amuro, just so everybody knows he's the main character of Gundam. Pilots the Gundam.
the best
Eh,
character in Gundam. Gotcha.
yeah, I like beating the crap out of him because I hate him because Zig Zeon, first of all.
Okay,
And
space Nazi.
listen, that was only one of them.
Space Nazi.
Dazzle was a good man. A good man that got screwed by his Nazi old younger brother.
Sins
Anyway,
of the father, bro. Sins of the father.
but no, so we're getting pretty Gundam heavy here. But
This is my new Gundam podcast, Misplaced Mobile Suit.
yo, I would absolutely do that. 100%. I love Gundam. Even the Gundams I don't like, I enjoy.
Today we're going to talk about the Battle of Abuaku
Oh,
because I
that
like
makes
to
me
say that
sad.
word, Abuaku.
How many colonies did Zeon drop? 3? I think it
Yeah,
was
something like
3.
that. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody just remembers the one that fell in Sydney. I feel like anybody who's listening to this that doesn't hasn't watched Gundam is already tuning us out.
Yeah, yeah. So we can move on. But my point was that game tried to bring new people in, tried to get people interested in the genre by using an IP that a lot of people liked and made everything universal. And games have been doing that forever.
No, see, they all have to do what SoulCal did, and they have to have very strong single player games, sir. That's all people want.
Don't get me started because they really need to be doing that, and it's a shame that they're not. And fighting game developers need to stop slacking.
Because that I feel like that was a lot of people's issue is that
Yeah,
they bought the game and they were like, all right. So I'm gonna play against the computer because I don't have a friend or because I want to practice, and
Mhm.
then they would immediately get stomped by the computer, and they're like, "Well, this isn't fun." Like,
Yeah, no, like Soul Calibur. I even played Soul Blade. Even that has an okay story thing going on with the book, and you got to read the book, and you can equip different weapons and stuff. It's they've always had a really good single player campaign. I want to play the Grand Blue single player. I hear that's pretty good too. The Grand
I
Blue versus.
do not know.
Uh, but yeah, that was just my rant on fighting games. It's that they've been trying to get new people in. It's not always just this exclusive club. Come on in, everybody. The water's warm. We're friendly. I'll make hot dogs.
And
Uh,
then, dragon punch you in the face.
yeah, I don't play Shotos a lot, but I could. You know. Oh, for people that don't know, Shotos is short for Shotokan, which used to be the style of Ryu and Ken.
Before it was like, what is it, Ansatsuken or
It's
some crap?
Sensuken now,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh, and then
Sure. Let's just retcon it because it was a real martial art and, you know,
yeah, and then they made Makoto who uses Shotokan, um, which I
annoying.
thought was I thought that was cute. And moving on to my next topic, which is
I
oh,
have to
sorry,
rant real quick.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder how many kids went and took Shotokan karate because they were Street Fighter fans, and then they were like, "Yeah," and then it was like, "Bro, didn't you know they changed that? They don't use that anymore." What?
yeah. It's
Like,
Anetsuken. It's Etsuken now. It's
yeah,
Double Dragon now.
I've wasted my life.
They're like a fourth degree black belt, and they just like, oh no.
They have like they walk into their dark apartment and there's like a dimly lit Ryu poster on the wall staring at them, and he's like, "You're a lie. My whole life is a lie."
They cry and kiss a picture of Ken Masters as they fall asleep.
Uh,
Oh. Um, okay, so my other topic is random encounters, random battles. I wanted to talk about this because we are in an RPG Discord that we like to bring up a lot, and part of it is people hate them. A lot of people in the modern day do not like random encounters, and let me tell you, I understand. I have streamed Breath of Fire 2 and Breath of Fire 3. I'm streaming FF6. I play a lot of old RPGs, and by the end of the game, I want to headbutt my desk every time I take 2 steps and get in an encounter. Breath of Fire 2 was terrible about this, by the way. You take a step and you get in a fight, and you take 2 steps and you get in a fight. They didn't have anything in place to mitigate it. So the last dungeon, I actually counted on stream, and somebody counted with me. I got into 15 encounters and 20 steps.
Jesus.
I looked at the camera and I said, "I'm sorry, guys," and I closed out the game and I played something else. and, and that's the thing is in those situations it gets frustrating, but I would like to posit that random encounters actually help bring a sense of urgency to the game if they're done correctly. I feel like that's something that can really make you feel tense. They grind away your resources. They make you pay attention to how you're leveling your characters and keeping your HP. And if it's done correctly and it doesn't just like, I'm buying 99 potions, I'm good, it makes you really think out your dungeon dive. And I think that's something that's pretty helpful. Something that's important that can help have a sense of tension. What do you think?
I agree with that sentiment. I don't mind random encounters. Of course, there are exceptions. One of my favorite games of all time is Skies of Arcadia, and that game has a stupid high random encounter rate.
It's really high. It's still a good game, though.
It is very high, and it's frustrating in that it kind of bucks the normal tradition of JRPGs, which is when you get an airship, right? You in a lot of them you can avoid random encounters while you're on an airship,
Mhm.
but not in Skies of Arcadia. No, no, because that's how you traverse the world map from the beginning is with airships. So all your random encounters are like on airships outside of dungeons, and it's not until pretty late in the game where you can go like above the clouds or below the clouds to avoid random encounters. I know a lot of people these days prefer encounters where you can see the enemy on the map, and so you can avoid them if you choose to.
Mhm.
I I honestly don't care one way or another. I love grinding, so I like having random encounters because it facilitates very like intuitive grinding. It's like, oh, I'll just run around outside of a dungeon or outside of a town or whatever until I'm level, you know, 1,000,000, and then I'll go back in and smash things.
And then go elbow some people in the face real hard.
Exactly. Like it random encounters, they yeah, they lend themselves well to grinding, which I like, but I do understand people getting frustrated with them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it, especially when games like Chrono Trigger pretty much fixed it.
I kind of miss
um,
though, there's something to be said for the way in older Final Fantasies and other things like, Legend of Dragoon and stuff where you'd be running across the overworld and, all of a sudden there's a music cue and the screen like breaks apart and swirls around and the camera shifts and, all that to the new field for battle. Like that was fun.
mhm.
Um, and I know games can still do that without random encounters, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
agree. It definitely adds something to the game, and it allows for a type of grinding that you can't really get in other things. And it's not like a lot of people say random encounters happen because of issues with how much information stuff had, and that kind of fit for the NES. But you could even go as early as the PC engine, right? Or like the PC 98. Let's use the PC 98. And you have something like Evo Theory of Evolution, and of course I can find a way to bring Evo into the conversation. It's it's a
of
trick.
course.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, that is one of his favorite games.
Yeah, yeah. Evo Search Revolution is beautiful. And in it, a game released in what, 1992? When did that come out?
Old, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can see everything on the overworld. There are no actual issues with that. Okay, sorry, it came out in 1982.
So way
um,
older.
yeah, yeah, it looks like it. Oh no, that was wrong. That's when the PC engine came out. It was 1982. It was 1990 that Evo came out. So 1990 is still pretty old as far as release date. But the thing is, they've been able to do that for years, but a lot of companies decided not to, and there's probably a reason for that. It could be a coding issue. It could just be a lot of people weren't able to code it that way.
I'm
It
sure
could,
it uses a lot of system
yeah,
resources.
for sure. It probably does. And but then again, you bring up something like Chrono Trigger, which used a lot of resources on the visuals and music and everything, and it happened to be able to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. I think with something like Chrono Trigger, there's also the idea that when it's not random encounters, the encounters are somewhat curated. So, it's like in a Final Fantasy dungeon, there's a bunch of random encounters, a bunch of random enemy combinations you could run into. Whereas in something more like a Chrono Trigger, it's like there are, five set encounters in this dungeon, and yeah, they respawn, but it's always the exact same encounter in the exact same place, which I know some people prefer. But it does, there's a trade off there. Um, they there's going to be less variety.
there is going to be a little less variety, and also there are memories I have of going through dungeons that were nail biting, and if I was able to dodge enemies, it wouldn't have been nearly as terrifying. Dragon Quest 3. It The dungeon itself almost feels like a boss a lot of the times. So like when I was headed on my way back and I was out of herbs and my healing spells were done, I'm like, I need to think of something because I'm gonna die and have to do all of this over again,
Yeah,
or
you
like if
try. I was just gonna say, I don't know if you did this, but do little weird things like you're running up against the wall because you're
yeah,
like, if I'm up against the wall, like in your head, you're like, I'm less likely to get a random encounter, or like,
or
you
like you
know,
do the shuffle, like walk forward, stop.
yeah, stuff like that that probably doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, not you. Sometimes going against the wall makes you walk faster. Like in the Undertale speed runs, everybody hugs the wall because it makes you move
That is true.
a half a frame more quickly. Um,
And I was just
which
thinking, I get your tension thing. The more I think about it, be on low health with low resources in a dungeon, and you'd have those moments where you're like, okay, I'm almost to the save point or whatever, and then all of a sudden that music would cue, and you're like, son of a bitch, and then of course it would be like attacked from behind or something, and you're like about to throw your controller because you're like, okay, this is it, it's over, like I'm
I'm
about to
about to
lose like
die.
2
Yeah.
hours of progress, and then their attacks would miss, and you would just be like, I am the luckiest person on the planet, this feels so good.
And you mash that run button. You're just like, let's go.
Yes, yes, you do. Or they'll kill like two of your three party members, but the third one escapes, and you're like, I love you. I love you so much.
that that happened in FF6 while I was streaming it. Sabin basically one manned an entire boss almost halfway through and was just alone. And I'm like, Sabin, I love you. I'm never going to take you out of my party ever again.
Of course, I was going to say just as heartbreaking as you have that lucky moment, and then you get out of the fight, and you're like, thank God, and you take one step, and the music
And
cue hits again, and you're like, no, what? No, this isn't fair. Like,
or this happened to me before. I didn't get every chest on my way in, so I was getting them on my way out. And I'm like, oh, here's a chest near the entrance. I should be fine. And I was almost dead, and it was a mimic. And
hmm.
I was like, oh no.
Or the some old poorly designed like JRPGs where you'd beat or you'd get like to a dead end basically, and you're just like, wait, okay, so I got the MacGuffin I needed. Like there's not just a, it's not just gonna teleport me back to the entrance. No, no, no. You have to walk back through the dungeon. Stuff like that.
Oh goodness. I Oh, you're giving me memories that I don't like. Um did I Speaking of losing all your data, did I ever tell you my Legend of Dragoon story?
I assume you lost all your data.
Yeah, so I was really mad at my friend, by the way.
Did he
I
lose all your data?
Yeah, so I was fighting the final boss of the game. My team was terrible. It was Kongol, Hashel, and Dart. So I struggle bust. But I really like Kongol, so I wanted to use him. And and I'm on the final boss and I'm fighting and I'm like, this is great. This is an awesome and if you've played the game, you know the final boss takes like 20 freaking minutes,
Yes.
right? So then the power flashes and I have to reload. And I'm like, okay, I'll do this again. As I'm reloading, my friend goes to turn the light off and accidentally hits the switch that for some reason my PlayStation was connected to.
Every house has one of those, or older house.
Yeah.
The switch people would put tape over, and they're like, don't hit that switch."
Don't ever
Uh,
touch that. And it corrupted my save data.
oh, that's a bummer.
I had a one. It was a 100% file, Brian.
Oh, that hurts. You should have saved it to the cloud.
Yeah, back in 1997.
They had those zip drive save station things where you could transfer your cards to a bigger hard drive. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I played through it all again, and I made him do the stuff I didn't like. I was like,
As
"All
you should
right,
have.
you go through this dungeon that I hate and get this item because I'm not doing it." I but I
That
100% it and beat it again. I have played Legend of Dragoon two full times to completion.
that is that's a feat.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good video game. I know some people say it's not a good video game, but they're incorrect, and that's okay. People are allowed to
It's
have wrong opinions.
it's a fine video game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a solid like 6 or 7 out of 10 video game.
Yeah, exactly. Just like FF7.
Wow.
So
Wow.
what?
No, no, no. I'm not even gonna. I'm
You're
not.
not
No.
gonna take the bait where I think that Legend of Dragoon is better than FF7 because I'll do it.
I'm not gonna take that bait. Although there
Uh
are probably Reddit groups that consider you like the voice of truth.
the
Um,
voice of truth. Well, I mean, there is no voice of truth because there is no objectively best video game, right?
oh my god! Don't listen to him. Don't
There
drag us into
isn't.
this. No, we're not. This is not misplaced.
This
Whatever.
it's musings. We're musing about the existential crisis of video games.
Nope. I'm not doing this. I'm not
Hey,
doing it.
I'm just saying there is no 100% great video game. It's all based on taste, all right?
I'm
It's
sorry,
how
sir.
that works.
Pac-Man Anniversary Edition is perfect.
You know what? You're right. Mega Man X is the best video game. I forgot for a second. It's,
Super Mario Brothers 3. Anyway,
we should have the Super Mario Brothers 3 versus Super Mario Brothers World debate at some point.
we will. We're just gonna have a misplaced, like, I don't know, assholes.
Misplaced maladies.
Oh, there we go. See, look at that. He's creative. Where we just argue about things that people like to argue about.
Yeah, that would
Um,
be fun. On the record, I think both games are good. I just like Super Mario World a little bit.
nice, nice. I hate that I say nice. That is not a good segue. We need a good segue.
A
What is a
good
segue into
segue.
music?
Well, you know what? The music of hearing the Goomba's head go splat. That's great.
What? That's not music. That's a
It
sound
is.
effect, Teeps.
Listen, you can use the sound effects to make music. Have you ever listened to those? Those are really cool. Where they take all of like
I
the
have. I also played
the
Mario
general.
Paint. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right. Mario Paint has some good stuff. You know what else had some good stuff? Air Force Delta. Why don't you tell us about that, Brian?
yes, we are moving into our misplaced melodies, the part of the podcast where we each select a music track to highlight for the week. And mine comes from the Sega Dreamcast arcade style flight sim Air Force Delta, which was made by Namco. Don't remember the name of the composer. He's not like a household name. In fact, he's one of those you have to kind of Google through like 3 or 4 different websites to find his name. But this particular track doesn't have a title. It's just Area 15 or Track 15 from the 15th stage, which is called the Ice Flow. It's it's what it sounds like. It's an attack on an ice base in like an Antarctic area, and I love this entire soundtrack. I think this entire genre has some of the most amazing music that no one ever brings up. Things like, Ace Combat is the easy, popular pick, but pretty much this entire genre, just amazing music, and this game is no exception. From track one to the final track, they're all good, but I picked this one as my choice for today, and I will let y'all listen, and hopefully you like it.
All right, see you on the other side.
And we're back. So, Teeps, what did you think? Shannon.
Our
Shannon, what did you think? I'm gonna call you Sheeps. No,
Chiefs
Tannen. Like
Tannen.
like Biff Tannen from Back to the Future. Now,
Oh, there we go.
what did you think, Shannon?
All right, so this song fucks. I'm just gonna say it. The song's great. This is the song that walks into a room and everybody wants to go home into its bed that night. It is awesome. It's just it hits you with this like groove right when you walk in, this backbeat that's just hitting the entire time. And while that's going on, it just adds on all these different layers of these different waves and just oh my god, it's great. It's exciting and I love it. I sat and I listened to it for like 20 minutes.
I'm glad you liked it.
It was great.
I don't have the music theory background to discuss all the cool things it does, or even the genre that it is. I mean, it's electronic music, but I really like it. And if you ever decided to play the game, which if you're into that genre, you definitely should. Although the Dreamcast controller only has one stick, which a lot of people don't like that control style for that genre. But it's a great game with a great soundtrack. I moving on to Shannon Duffy's choice for the week,
Yes. So my choice, the Teeps track, if you will.
the Teeps track.
Yeah, is from that said fighting game I brought up before, Kaiser Knuckle.
Oh, I thought we were gonna have one from a good game.
I'm gonna ignore you.
Like you
And
brought up Soul Calibur, I thought maybe.
I mean that does have a really good soundtrack that we can discuss at some point. But Kaiser Knuckle has
Yeah,
a
tell us
very
about
good
King
soundtrack.
Fist, sir.
Yeah, King Fist. So the soundtrack is for the main character, Kazuya. It's his theme. It's called Look at Me. And it's exciting, wild, full of energy, just like him. And I just thought it was a wonderful track. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Awesome. See you on the other side.
And we're back, everybody. So, Brian, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. Like, so, like, I don't listening to it. I wouldn't have pegged it as a fighting game track to begin with. Um,
Why is
like,
that?
I'm honestly not sure. It's just not where my so I daydream to music. It's what I use music for,
Hmm.
and it's just not where my mind went. I mean, to be fair, I probably wouldn't have thought the other track was from an airplane game. But yeah, and it was very high quality. What platform was this on?
Arcade.
Arc. Oh, okay, that explains it. I was thinking like because I knew it was older. I was thinking like Super Nintendo or something. And I was like, that was incredibly high quality for a older console. Um,
Yeah, it's because it was arcade, the big daddy console of them all.
what else? Do you happen to know anything else this composer made?
Yeah, so Yasushi Watanabe, I believe, is the name. They were in Taito for a while. They're actually behind a couple of soundtracks that I do enjoy. They helped make Custom Robo V2. They helped make that soundtrack. They helped do Psychic Force, Street Fighter EX3, Street Fighter EX2, I believe, Bubble Bobble Plus.
So a lot of games either people
Mhm.
don't care about or that never came to America.
Yes. Listen, Psychic Force is great. It was
I was just thinking of Custom Robo V2. That was the N64 one, right? No, no, no. That was
no,
GameCube, right?
those GameCube. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we also didn't get that right.
We didn't get the second one. No, yeah,
Yeah, we constantly get denied Custom Robo.
we do. But I need to talk about Psychic Force on the podcast at some point because that's another really good fighting game with a really convoluted release schedule that fucked it up. Uh,
Let's just have a fighting game episode, man.
I
I, f-
would absolutely do that.
I feel like people appreciate the all the lingo you use with like all those control like input scheme names and stuff. It was I
I
liked it.
try. I tried to explain all of it as I talked
You did
today.
a decent job, and people also like to hear that kind of stuff. They like to hear people who you know sound knowledgeable.
Yes, I
You
hope for
sound like you
for
know
many
what you're talking
years.
about. So,
With how long I've been playing these, I certainly hope so.
I mean, I've been playing RPGs forever, and I still don't know the technical terms for a lot of crap. So,
Ah,
um,
RPGs are a different beast, though. Different, different beast. Oh, before I move on, speaking of beast, because Kazuya is drawn like one in the art, I do want to touch on part of why I love this soundtrack. Is you're right, it's not like a normal fighting game because the songs all have progressive tones in them. It's almost like it starts off a certain way and then it goes and ends somewhere else, almost like a prog track. And they're all a lot of them are
yeah,
like 5 minutes long, which is wild for
that
a
was
fighting game soundtrack.
actually part of why I didn't think it was a fighting game track. Thank you for giving me words. Like fighting game tracks, like I'm not saying they're repetitive, but they're
Mhm.
usually not. They have like a riff that they do and then they just repeat. Uh, like it's not like Guile's theme is all that progressive. It's not telling a story. It's not like an opera. Um,
Yeah, I mean, because they're 99-second rounds, right? So why would you make a 5 minute fucking song? Because you want to slap. That's why. like,
exactly. So when I heard this, I
yeah.
was thinking like maybe like a shooter or
Mhm.
something, platformer.
Yeah,
But
something where it's a little longer. But no, this is a fighting game with just a very. That's what's wild about Kaiser Knuckle is everything but the gameplay is really really well done. And then I enjoy how it plays, but the game is a mess. It's got a meter that fills that you can't control. That if you use a special move, it gets absorbed. And but if you hit somebody with it, it breaks the level, which changes the level layout and can change damage numbers. It's got a lot happening all in the background while you're playing this game. It doesn't stop. It's they just kept shoving mechanics in to try and make it memorable, and in doing so, it made it not memorable at all as far
that
as the gameplay.
that is a shame. Maybe it'll get some kind of renewed attention someday.
Maybe, yeah. Some people do side tournaments, but mostly it's just content creators like Justin Wong saying that the boss is really stupid and taking 20 minutes to beat it. Uh, and for those who don't know, Justin Wong is one of the absolute best fighting game players in the world. Uh,
You pronounced my name incorrectly.
I'm so sorry. It's Brian. Brian's actually the best fighting game player.
Yes, in the world.
See his Siegfried. You're not gonna live. All right.
Yeah,
No.
I will wring you out
Yeah,
with
yeah.
my big sword. Um, but yes. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to discuss, or are we on our way out?
No, I believe we're on our way out the door. So where can they find us, Brian?
Well, currently I am in a closet because that's where I record, and it's like 90 degrees, and I'm dying.
Omolona me que fa.
But no, you can find me on Twitter, Brian C. Nerd. We have a website, misplacedpod.com. I'm on Discord uh, as Brian C. Nerd. Some numbers I don't remember. I'll put it in the show notes. Um, and yeah, Brian C. Nerd everywhere. Just look for Brian C. Nerd. Steam, Instagram, Twitter, or Misplaced Pod. Also, all of the places.
Absolutely. Misplaced Pod is where you can find most of us. Yes.
And what about Shannon Duffy?
Shannon Duffy is found at Teeps the Great on Twitter. I also stream at Teeps the Great on Twitch. So twitch.tv/ Teeps the Great. And that's pretty much it because I don't like social media very much. So
I get it. I get
that's
it.
pretty much only places you can find me. But thank you, everybody, for spending your time with us. And we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Absolutely. Later.